it is what it is, sex sells, right? Violence sells.
Wow.
What's up, everybody? So my name is Michael Stevenson. Welcome back to my channel. This is another part of my entertainment industry series. Those of you who don't know, I talk about the entertainment industry as a whole, things that have changed about it in the last decade or so, and why it feels like a lot of film and television does not live up to what we all would want it to. So tonight we are going to be talking about something that is, I think, it's actually very important because it is starting to delve into more of the business side of the industry, specifically with the marketing. It's important because I think it's one of the reasons as to why we are seeing so much stuff that seems to start good and then just sort of flatline. The thing that I want to talk about tonight is false sensationalism or overhyped sensationalism, specifically sensationalism as it relates to the things that I guess have always been the most sensational to people that appeal to the quote unquote lizard brain, as it so happens to be, or as some people say. The best example I have of this is, and this is something that's best explained through example, is the show which shall not be named. The first season that this show came on, it was sold to people, it was marketed to people as this incredibly sensational thing. It was supposed to be, I guess, cutting edge. It was a little bit dangerous to some extent. It was almost even a little bit mysterious. And it was going to be something that a certain demographic were going to find very polarized. It sold itself on the sensationalism involved in the show. It was a very short season, but they wanted you to tune in because they were going to be doing things, saying things, you were going to be seeing things on there that were just crazy. They were just out there. It was like, whoa, I can't believe they did that. Now, mind you, I myself tend to never fall for sensationalism marketing. The TV show had a young actor / actress that I wanted to see. That's the whole reason why I tuned in to the first season to begin with. And then once the show started, I could see what they were talking about, how sensational it was, the controversies and things of that nature that was going to have. You have to be very careful when marketing these things in the way that they market them today, especially because what tends to happen is that, and this is something that we all know, this honestly is something that's very well covered in The Dark Knight, in the scene in which Batman is about to interrogate the Joker for the first time. He grabs the Joker's head and he slams it onto the table, and the Joker says, you're never supposed to start with the head, because then the other hits, the person won't feel them as much. And he was right. When you sell something, when you market something on sensationalism, what generally happens is that, yes, there will be people who come and tune in specifically to see if it really is as provocative as you say that it is. But then once they have gotten there, you have to keep their attention with something. And the problem with the show that shall not be named is that it was poorly written. It was poorly plotted. The characters were not developed in nearly as smart of a way as I think the writers and the director and the actors probably thought that they were. It was, for all intents and purposes, kind of a mess. And I realized about halfway through the season that it probably wasn't going to get better, especially because I was binge watching the series. The way in which I binge watch most things is that I don't just watch episode after episode in one fell swoop, in one sitting on one day. I watch an episode per day, and that's kind of how I will binge watch a full season. Well, I was binge watching it because the show had already been out for months now. I went online to see what people were saying about the show, and the unfortunate thing is that when people talked about the show, all I saw were articles based on and based around the sensationalism, the provocateur aspect of the show. What I didn't see were thoughtful or thought-provoking when talking about the character development of the show, or even about the plots or the storylines of the show. Pretty much all the articles that they got, and especially the ones that were read the most, that were hyped the most, that had the largest lens on them, were the articles that talk specifically about the sensational bits and pieces of the show. And I realized that I can remember the days in which we actually had TV guides and physical TV guides too. You know, the ones that came in the mail that like everybody got. You kind of had to get it because we didn't have the scrolling TV guides that we have now. And not everybody had the internet. I can remember in those where they would have actual articles about the plots of various TV shows and movies that were going to come on TV. When talking about the plot, they actually were able to give you bits and pieces about the plot that made you want to look into the show more, that made you curious about the show and about what was actually going on. This new show, though, all that they could do was sell it on whether it was the nudity, the profanity. They sold the entire show on this idea of this is happening, though it shouldn't be happening, I guess, to like this group of people or something like that. There was nothing else about the show that they could sell. The plot was just sort of ho-hum. The characters were kind of ho-hum. When I watched the first season, I was so curious because there were a lot of people who were saying like, yeah, you know, this is a hit show. Most of that, of course, came online, looking at other articles. But even in the articles that said that, yeah, this is a hit show, even they couldn't actually pin down why this was supposedly a hit show. They just said it was. And so I was like, well, maybe there's something that I'm missing here. I went back and forth because there was a hiatus between the second and I believe the third season. I think it's on its third season now, with a fourth coming out. I went back and forth on whether I was actually going to view the remaining seasons or not. And I finally decided, like, you know what, the show was so terrible that I just don't think I can. And I kept thinking to myself, God, you know, maybe I should go back and try to give it a second chance to see if there's something beyond the controversy and beyond the sensationalism. I guess it was sort of like eating your favorite dish every single day for a very long time. Like, even if it's your favorite dish, it kind of wears out after a certain length of time, right? So you want to do something else. You want to taste something else. Well, the sensationalism was pretty much just like that. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I should give the second season or the third season a chance to see if they've done anything. The problem is that T, you know, the evil algorithm, YTY, it put in front of me some of the stuff, some of the news articles that came out about the second and I believe third season of the show. And the problem is that out of, I would say, 20 plus articles that I read, it was somewhere around 25 articles that I read, one of them actually talked about anything having to do with actual plot. And that, even in that article, they said that, yeah, you know, this season is terribly written. And I was like, well, the first season was terribly written. No. So it felt completely deflating to me when I came to the conclusion that I had realized something in the first season, what everybody else seemed to only now be realizing in the subsequent seasons, is that the show, for all intents and purposes, has almost nothing else of any value outside of the sensationalness. So all the other articles, all the other 24 articles, 24 articles that I read, all they talked about was, again, either the controversy or the provocativeness of the show, and or feuds that were happening behind the scenes on the show. So there was a feud with an actress or an actor and the main writer or the creator or the director, or this person didn't like that person, or, et cetera, et cetera. They couldn't actually sell the show on the show itself because the show itself was kind of bad. So all of these articles, yes, they were written about this supposedly popular show, this hit show, and yet all they could talk about were things that in some ways had almost nothing to do with the show, nothing to do with the plot, with the storyline. So I think that, again, and I'm nearing the end, so hopefully this is my shortest video. I think that, again, when we go into marketing today, yes, it is a tried and true marketing notion, marketing a pillar that says that sex and violence sells, that sensationalism sells. But that's if you're only making a one-time sale. If you're going to sell me on a series of things, whether it be a TV show or a film series, you've got to hit me with something more meaningful than just see this actor or this actress do this wild, crazy thing that you didn't think that they would ever do. See this thing be provocative, be outraged by this. You have to sell things on more than that, because the audience is ultimately going to come away and they're going to see the provocativeness immediately, and they are going to have the reaction that you want. They're going to be provoked. And then the next time they come through, they're expecting that. So if you give it to them again, it's like, okay, well then, what else do you have? Like, what else do you got? And if that's all you're going to keep giving them, ultimately they are going to be the ones who determine, or who come up with this idea that, you know what, this show is shallow and it doesn't have very good writing. And I think that that's exactly what this show suffered through, or suffered from, is that once viewers got past the initial shock of some of the things going on the show, it became an incredibly repetitive loop. It became a cycle in and of itself that doubled back on itself faster than any cycle that you actually want in storytelling. So yeah, I think that's actually good enough. Like I said, short video. Finally, I think it's my first short video. I can't even wrap my head around it. Did I say everything that I wanted to say? Probably not, but I don't want to ramble anymore. Yeah. Hey, everybody. So while I don't have an official sign off yet, I guess I should do the whole please like, comment, share, and if you so desire and you want to see more, subscribe. But more importantly, I will ask that you please go and purchase one of my books. They are mostly ebooks, and pretty much they are all under $10. See if any of my work is actually any good, if it lives up to any of the things that I'm talking about here on my channel, specifically with the entertainment industry videos. So please go purchase my books. All of my links are down below. Thank you.